Hello and good morning. Today is April the 28th, coming to you from a beautiful Tuesday morning. And today, the topic of discussion is an article written by Small Biz Trends. And that topic is titled 5 Marketing Hacks on the Cheap. I'm not making this up. On the cheap to grow your business during a pandemic. And as scammy and cheesy as that article title sounds, it was actually a somewhat interesting article. This article was written by Dmitry Droglev, and he wrote about 5 somewhat resourceful ways to market during a time where you might not have as much money as other times. And we know that sometimes when you don't have a lot of revenue coming in or whatever it might be, that it might be a time to go back to your roots of when you were a smaller company or when you first started out or whatever it might be, and go back and try to start from the ground up again. Start doing those things that you once did that worked really well, and start putting in some of that sweat equity maybe. And so he said, these are cheap marketing hacks to use during a pandemic. You'll see why each marketing hack is important and how to implement it to reach new customers. So he gives 5 different suggestions that he recommends on growing your marketing that are virtually free. So obviously we know you have to pay for labor and things like that, but he is trying to get your mind going of not just a paid search type of situation. So the first one that he brings out, which was one of my favorite and something that I've actually been thinking about quite a bit, was titled "Get Press by Responding to Journalists and Podcasters." That is something that I've actually been thinking about quite a bit and wanting to do, and that is, reaching out to the free marketing channels such as the news media, such as magazines, newspapers, your local newspapers. He goes into reaching out to podcasters as well as a podcast guest, asking other podcasts around to be a podcast guest. If you do want to be a podcast guest, there's a podcast called Chatter with Steve, and I'm always looking for podcast guests. You can reach out to me, shoot me a message. But he recommends to always reach out to these people, because these people, usually the people that are on the news, are not there by, happenstance. That is usually somebody that reached out to somebody or knows somebody or is looking for some type of free advertisement. And he goes into several companies that have a dedicated PR person that is constantly reaching out to these large media news outlets. Again, this is not free in the sense of you don't have to do anything to get this publicity. This is something that does not cost a lot of money besides sweat equity. This is something that you can do, you can start working on and not have to have a lot of revenue. The article goes on, and the second thing that he recommends is to personalize cold outreach campaigns. And he talks about how sometimes we get comfortable with our cold, we have a set of people that we've kind of always called on and blah, blah, blah. But he talks about going back into your archives of cold leads, I guess you could say cold leads, and going back into those cold leads and talking and trying to get each and every person in there a personalized deal. So, hey, sorry if you're having a rough time. I've always admired your farm, or I've always admired your facility, or whatever it might be. And going into these personalized cold outreach campaigns and trying to go to each and every person, whether it be by phone call, by email. He says that cold emails, he thinks, are kind of on the rise, that you send a personalized email that might not go to a spam box or whatever if you're just sending one email to a particular person. And said that is something that's been very successful, that he's either read or done himself or whatever it might be. The next one is called, he titles, "Find Existing Mentions of Your Brand and Correct Them." That is something that just seems like a constant struggle and a constant battle. If you have anything that, everybody does business with humans, so you need to be found by something or someone. And that is something that, at least with our business, with the feed stores, that it is a constant battle of having the right phone number, having the right address, having the right products because you don't just have your website. You are found by a Google page. You're found by a Yelp page. You're found by the Yellow Pages. You're found by some like Mania. You're found by, 10 to 15 to 20 different things that can pop up. We recently had customers coming in looking for alcohol. We sell 99% alcohol for cleaning and stuff like that, and hardly ever sold any until this Corona deal started happening, and people were finding there was this page called Pointy that it actually just got bought by Google, but it was this Pointy page, and we had alcohol on our Pointy page. Well, for some reason, all of a sudden, we were never found for alcohol. No one even ever asked for alcohol, and all of a sudden, people start coming out of the woodworks. We had orders placed from California, from Washington, and finally, I had to turn it off because we quickly were back ordered on that product. But, there's just random pages that can surface to the top of Google searches. And so you have to be mindful of all of these pages. And it is just a constant battle to constantly go in there. Sometimes my cell phone gets attached to these things. Sometimes, it's the wrong address or the wrong website or the wrong Facebook page. You have to constantly update all of these pages that are not your own. It's not your own website, not your own Facebook page, not your own Instagram, whatever it might be. You have to constantly go and update these things. And it is just a never-ending cycle, it seems. The next one is titled Add Videos to Your Landing Pages. Again, this is something that I've been working on a lot lately with Google. I've been trying to do a little bit of Google advertising, Google Ads, to appear at the top of a search for certain things. So whether that be, people searching for, Purina horse feed dealers near me or whatever, that we come up to the top of that search. But with a Google ad, you can choose when that person clicks, like, largest Purina dealer in Oklahoma or blah, 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 whatever your catchphrase is to get those people to click on that. When you click on that, Google Ads will take you to a specific page that you have it on there. And so what you want to do is, if they're clicking on something with Purina horse feed, you want to have a page that is specifically set up ready for those people. And it says that adding videos to your landing pages is something that is very captivating. So you click on that page, and then it is a video of, me or whatever, or a video of our store that is saying that, how many different varieties of Purina horse feed that we sell or whatever it might be. So if you advertise to, you want to be found when somebody searches, local Mexican restaurant or whatever it might be, that you come to the top of a Google search for that. So when somebody clicks on local Mexican restaurant, you have a video there that, displays how your grandma started this local Mexican restaurant and that you guys have the best quesadilla or whatever it might be. So it talks about perfecting your landing pages. And again, that's something that I've been working on a lot lately. It's not a free, venture. I guess in some sense of the word, you can do a lot of that stuff yourself, but I wouldn't call that necessarily a free thing, especially Google Ads, where you're promoting people to click through certain links. That is definitely not a free thing. That's pretty costly, $2 to $3 to $4 or $5 per click, depending on what thing you're shopping for or trying to promote. And then finally, the last one is a little bit of a downer. It was called Repurpose Old Content. And what it was saying was that if you had done articles before, if you had done videos before, to repurpose that content. So obviously, like I create a lot of videos or record a lot of videos. So what it was saying is instead of, focusing on creating new videos and things like that, if you're having some sort of production cost or labor cost involved with producing certain things, that you grab those videos and turn them into articles and post those articles. Or if you've paid somebody to write a bunch of articles, that you repurpose those and turn them into videos or whatever it might be. Again, that can be a free thing. That can be something that you don't pay to have done for you, that you can just repurpose content maybe that you've paid to have somebody to do before and repurpose that into something new, or repost or whatever it might be. If you're big into Facebook advertising or even podcasts, I see a lot of podcasts that repost old podcasts that were maybe very popular a year or 2 years ago. And I find that a lot of people, I repurpose old Facebook videos very often. And a lot of people, besides my different length of my hair, a lot of people don't even realize that they were old videos. I get text messages like, "Oh man, I liked your video from yesterday," that they don't realize that I recorded it 2.5 years ago, because sometimes you have such a different audience, 2 years later, that maybe one person remembers. And even if the same people saw it, I mean, it's somewhat egotistical to think that people remember your video 2.5 years later of something that you're, advertising. So that is something that I do quite a bit. Repurpose old content, old videos, old pictures on Facebook, Instagram, things like that. And again, old podcasts as well, if that's your thing. So that's all we have for small business trends. Thank you for watching. If you made it to this point, you're my best friend. Thank you for watching this, and have a great rest of your day.